the mind of a hustler.
Every day grinding with a mind of a
Mind of a hustler. Get the mind of a hustler.
mind of a hustler.
My boy
Man,
just won just a few minutes ago.
man, Curry
Yes,
is
sir.
balling right now, man.
Yeah, he
I was
going
like,
wild,
dang,
man. He
man, I
going
gotta
wild.
do this interview. That's your
Yeah, I
team?
know. I know. Yeah, yeah. I'm from Oakland. I'm actually in Oakland right now. I'm in
Okay,
Oakland right
okay.
now.
My team, Miami,
Miami.
Miami Heat.
Okay.
Everything, Mike. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what's up.
Um,
That's what's up.
I was surprised we made it. Y'all took
Hey,
Jimmy
man, they scrappy.
Butler from, huh?
I say y'all scrappy. Y'all got a little scrappy team for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lot of young talent.
Hmm.
You know, everybody want to be there. You know, they had to get rid of Jimmy. I like the Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
they ain't want to pay him. I don't know what's going on. Like, pay the man.
Yeah. A lot of times these teams they get greedy, man. They don't want to pay their best players, so they think they can do better with do younger, better versions, and you don't be paying attention, man. You got to have some veterans on your team. You ain't winning nothing. You
Facts,
have to have
facts,
some good
facts,
veterans
facts.
for sure.
Gutter and Glory, what's good? Thanks for joining the podcast. See if we could get a few more
What's up? What's
people
up? How
off
y'all
in
doing?
there.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, man. Yeah. The playoffs looking good, man. You seen what happened with Shadeur Sanders?
Yeah, I know that was crazy, right? I couldn't believe it. I'm a
Woo!
Raider fan too, so I was like, man, why we didn't take him? I was like, man, I don't care what kind of off the field issues he had, as long as he wasn't nothing crazy, we gotta go to jail. I'm like, we got Tom Brady as part owner. Like Tom Brady could have mentored this dude and got him back on track for sure. So I couldn't believe we didn't take that dude with all those picks we had in the first 4 rounds. We had about 7, 8 picks. We didn't take him with none of them. I couldn't believe it. We definitely could have used him for sure. But yeah, he
Everybody
went to
was in an
Cleveland.
uproar about that. That ain't make no
Yeah.
sense.
No, it didn't. How you gonna win Offensive Player of the Year and nobody really have no kind of real bad news out on you? You know, I mean, I think he didn't do the combine and stuff like that, so I know that was a little bit of a bad look. But that ain't the first time that's ever happened. You know, what I mean, that ain't nothing new. Somebody
Right.
expecting to go first in the pick, they don't necessarily have to do the draft. You know what I mean? If you feel like they don't have to do all that, but yeah, that's wild though. I couldn't believe he went that far away. That was wild to me.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining the live, tuning in
What's up,
with our
everybody?
special guest exclusive interview today. Y'all gonna learn a lot today, man. This is more than an artist. This is a real businessman that we got that y'all in for a treat today. So we're gonna go ahead
Thank you, man. I
on and get
appreciate it.
this thing started. Yeah, yeah,
Get
I had to
going.
do
Get
that
going.
research. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thanks everybody for joining the live. Welcome to Street
Yes, sir.
Dialogue
Appreciate y'all.
Podcast, where we get dialogue from a street perspective. And today we have a special guest today, Mr. Dluv out of California. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
All right, so go ahead on and introduce yourself for the fans and the people who are watching that don't know who you are.
All right, bet. So my name is Mr. D Love. My real name is Dion Westbrook. Um, like you said, I wear a lot of hats. So I'm an artist, but my main job that I have is I've been doing real estate for over 19 years now. I'm aging myself. So I've been doing real estate for a long time. You know, what I do with that is I help people get finance to purchase homes because I love helping people create generational wealth, especially people that look like me, but I don't discriminate. I'm gonna help any and everybody that needs it. So I try to help people learn about, financial literacy, credit building, what it takes to become a homeowner, the importance of that, the importance of creating wealth, the importance of creating legacies for yourself, your family, and your community at the same time. So do that. I own a couple of businesses. So I was part owner of another business called Preferred Glass and Windows. So that's the business that I have. It's out of Santa Clarita area. Pretty much it's a business where we provide whether it be doors, windows, glass, etching. That's where you can put your logos into certain things along those lines, all kind of different things that we have. Then I also recently was part owner of a club, and I'm looking into becoming part owner of a hookah lounge in San Diego as well too. So we got a couple of business moves we're trying to make. We're trying to make some moves for sure.
That's dope. That's dope. That's
Thank you,
dope.
thank you.
So we like to dig into your background. So what part of California are you actually from? And what did you grow up at in Cali?
Now, I'm from Oakland. I'm actually there right now, man. I'm in Oakland right now. So from East Oakland to be exact. And I grew up in Oakland, and then when I turned 18, I went to the Marine Corps. So I went to the military. You know what I mean? Growing up in Oakland, you know, you learn very fast. You only got a couple of options. If you're not somebody that's going to get out of there by playing ball or, you know, artist or something like that, you got two other options after that. You're going to either be a product of your environment or you're going to have to create your own. So I chose to create my own environment. I got up out of there, you know what I mean, and start making some moves. But, you know, definitely got love for my hometown. I come back all the time and then do what I do, get back and help my people out here and stuff like that, my family. So for sure.
So, like I said, are you from Cali, but you like Oakland? So people from Cali, like California. So depending on what area, y'all don't even must claim Cali as a whole. So y'all separate yourselves. Like it's like y'all in your own country over there. You feel? So
Hey, look, everybody know Oakland,
yeah,
man. We say Oakland, you know that's
yeah,
Cali, that's the area. You know what I mean? We got our own thing, man. We do things a little
right.
different. You know what they say?
Okay, so in Oakland, so what area in Oakland did you actually grow up in? For the people
East
that don't know.
Oakland, East Oakland, right, 75th, 100 block, basically. So 75th is Spencer. It's kind of off East 14th Street, stuff like that. Most people know that. That's the old school time. I think it's called International or something like that now. But yeah. So
Got
East
you.
Oakland, but
So
I live all over Oakland. So all different parts. I've lived in all different parts of Oakland, East, Northwest, all different parts of Oakland though, over the years.
okay. So growing up in Oakland, right? Tell me about your upbringing and how you was raised in Oakland and the environment that you was in for the people that don't know, and some of the obstacles that you went through and you had to endure growing up in Oakland. Because I know Cali is not no walk in the park for sure, especially
No,
with the
definitely
gang
not.
violence and stuff like that. You see what's going on with Big U. How were you able to manage to live, you know, in that type of environment? And, you know, what things did your parents teach you, you know, growing up, you know, in Oakland? Like, you know, how was your upbringing over there?
Yeah. So I would say I definitely had a good upbringing, but definitely went through a lot, you know, tragedies and things like that. You know, I lost my dad at a young age. I was only 16. He got killed in a car accident. And so it was tough, definitely being that young and losing your dad. You know, most people, you know, don't want to lose their dad until they get old and age themselves. But, you know, I lost mine at a young age and was forced to kind of start doing things, not necessarily on my own, but, you know, becoming the man of the house pretty quickly. You know, I had an older brother, but we didn't necessarily stay together after my father passed away. So, you know what I mean? I was kind of left to grow up pretty quickly and go through a lot of, you know, tragic things that you don't want people at that age to be having to go through for sure. You know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of crime, death, you know, drive-by shootings, waking up and dead people right outside my window, all kind of crazy stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a lot for young kids to see, and that's why I knew that hey, this is not once I get older to have a family. I don't want to necessarily have to be in this environment. You know, and so that's why I made the decision to try to get up out of there as soon as I got of age and you know went into the military. But yeah, no, it was definitely rough. You know, growing up, you hear all the stories, you know, about what it's like in Oakland and how crazy it gets, and everybody, mom, you gotta watch your back at all times. You know what I mean? Because fortunately, you
Right.
can't trust nobody at the end of the day. So you always have to be on edge. You got to be quick. You know, Oakland definitely taught you to be quick on your feet. That's for sure. You know what I mean? You got to be paying attention at all times, and you know how to watch for the clowns out there that be trying to get over all the time. So, you know, those
Right,
type of things that
right.
I definitely learned at a young age. You know what I mean? So,
So you
yeah.
you basically seen a lot and went through a lot. Most young adults don't experience that, but you know you can't help where you raised and the circumstances you grow up in. You just have to overcome them. So your mother basically raised both of y'all, you and your older brother. It was just you and your brother once your father.
No, I have another younger sister, younger brother-in-law, and stuff like that too, so, or half brother, I should say. But yeah, so she pretty much took over, you know, once he passed away, and you know, tried to do what she could do. I ended up just actually going to stay with a cousin just to help out. We moved to a different part of. I moved to Alameda because I wanted to go play sports. I was pretty good at sports, so I wanted to go play football because they had a really good football and baseball team. So, you know, so I had to go stay with my cousin to help her, you know, and not have to take on so much with raising us and things like that too. So, So it worked out. I was able to play sports and get to a little bit better environment, and get my head back on straight. Obviously, losing your dad, that's tough. So, it wasn't the best time right after immediately after that happened. So it took me some time to get back focused. You know what I mean? And get my head back on track and understand like, hey, this too shall pass, and you're never gonna forget, but you can, you will heal with time. And so it took me a
Right.
little bit,
So
but I got back on track.
your
Here we are.
situation was different, but it was basically the same as what we all go through growing up without a father, especially in the black home. But unfortunately,
Hmm.
you lost your father onto some circumstances that, could happen to anybody, especially with a car accident. So by you growing up with a single parent, you know what I'm saying? I know she couldn't control y'all. Y'all men, you feel me? Y'all young boys. And I know that had to play a toll on you. So going to school and stuff like that, like what obstacles did you face going to school now that this has happened? You young, your mind is not developed. Like how old were you when that happened, and then how did that affect your life at home? Because you said you had to also help out in the house, and then how did that affect your life in school?
Yeah, so I mean, I was 16 when it happened. So, um, definitely, like, I literally didn't even go to school for several months after it happened. You know what I mean? I was like, man, I didn't care. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? And yeah, I started definitely backsliding. I went out there doing that crazy, just, you know what I mean? Just like, it was just a bad time for me. Grades start slipping and everything like that. You didn't care. You always telling yourself, how could something like this happen? You know what I mean? To me, type deal. And so I just kind of got into one of those phases where I just didn't care no more. Went out there doing that crazy, just wasn't doing the right things, say it that way. And, it's like I said, it took a little bit of time to heal and then understand, hey, he would have wanted me to do better. And so I had to force myself to get back on track, finish school, and do what I need to do. And also told myself, hey, this ain't the place for me to be, because especially growing up in the Bay, all you see is same people on the same corners, 30, 40, 50-year-old dudes that have been sitting in the same stoops and porches, shooting dice and drinking and
Right.
talking crazy, what I mean, for 20, 30 straight years. And it was crazy. Even when I did get out of there and come back, and that's exactly what you see. So I was like, yeah, I definitely made the right choice. I had to, get up and do better, for sure.
So you mentioned sports. So you got into sports. So what what sport was actually your first love? You say you played a little bit of football, and what other sport you played?
Baseball.
Baseball. Okay.
Yeah, I
So
played
what
baseball.
got
I
you?
played. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. On. Say what you was gonna say. My bad.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
still talking?
No, so I mean, no, you good, you good. No, so I mean, my first love was baseball. So I was pretty good at
Okay.
baseball. I was a pitcher. But then when I got into high school, I played both, but I was probably better at baseball. And then once I got to high school, the pitches was coming way too fast, man. I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up with it. But so I said, hey, you know what? I ain't that bad at football either. So, I just went full speed ahead with football and fell back on baseball or whatever.
Got
But I ended up turning football into my best love. Because I was good at both of them. So it was just really a choice of which one I wanted to play. But yeah, like I said, once it was too hard to hit the ball. I couldn't keep up with the 90 miles per hour pitches and stuff like that. I actually went to school with a couple of major league players, Dontrell Willis and Jimmy Rollins. So I
you.
went to
Yeah.
school with both of them. Remember, Jim Rollins used to play for Philadelphia, and then um, Dontrell Willis played for the Florida Marlins when they were in the World Series some years back or
Okay.
whatever.
That's
So yeah, I went to
some
school with both of them.
everything Miami. You feel me? So yeah, Florida is
Yeah, yeah. So you
definitely
know
one
what's
of
up.
the Marlins. So
So
what
yeah.
schools did you go to growing up from elementary to high school, so people could get uh, a little idea of what schools you went to, that are from your area. So what schools you went to growing up?
See, I went to like Horseman. I was like young. I went to Longfellow, so I went there for several.
What's good? It's your boy 12 Gauge. If you need anything to do with social media, you want to get into acting, you want to get into music, you want to get into being a fitness model, and you need to get your name out there, hit on my boy Golden Money Team Marketing. He'll sort you out real good. He's the man.
Years. And then when I was about 13 or 14, I did move to Fairfield for a couple of years. I went to Fairfield High, I went to Armiel and then Fairfield High right after my father passed away. I went to Fairfield. I switched schools, it was just crazy. I just wanted to switch schools.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff going on. You had to hear everybody talking. You know what I mean? I didn't want to every day keep asking you, feeling sorry. You know what I mean? I didn't want to keep doing all that, so I switched schools. Plus, the other school had a better football team, so I switched to
Got you,
playing
got
football. But you know, I was only there for like a year. Then I decided I wanted to move back to Oakland. So I went back, and that's when I was staying with my mom, and then ultimately my cousin for a little bit. But then I went to Encinal and finished out high school at Encinal in Alameda.
you. Okay. So once you graduated high school, what was your next move? Did you go straight into the Army? Like, how did that go about?
I went to the Marine Corps, sir.
Okay, yeah. That's a different. That's okay.
There you go.
You
That's what
know,
we do.
for the civilian, we think everything. We look at
Everybody just
we
say
just
Army.
think it's just the Army. Just
Yeah,
literal Army, but yeah, it's different. It's different fractions of the Army. So yeah, you went to the
yeah,
Marine Corps.
yeah. I went to
Y'all,
Marine Corps straight out of high school. 18 years old. I was like, let me get up out of here. So that was cool. It was an experience. I
so
got to
the
go to.
Marines, y'all the first one to go in, or that's the Army that? I think the Marines the first one to go in, right? They said y'all in
Um,
first, right?
well, no, technically, either one can go in first, Army or Marine Corps or whatever. At the end of the day, the Navy pretty much transport, so we all moving with each other at the end of the day. But you know, everybody knows which one's the toughest. So
Right.
unless you
Well,
start
there
getting
goes
to
the
like
argument.
unless you get to the Navy SEALs and like the special forces, that's different. But the regular military, it'll be people know the Marine Corps is probably gonna be the toughest out of like Marine Corps, Army, Navy, stuff like that, Coast Guard, stuff like that. Marine Corps will be definitely the toughest
Right.
one you can go to until you start getting special forces. That's different. But yeah.
So
So yeah, no, that was
joining the
experience.
Marine Corps, what actually made you join the Marine Corps after graduating high school?
Well, I mean, my father was in the military, so
Okay.
I was able to see. I actually have a couple other family members that was in the military, so I was able to see like the discipline that was instilled in them. The type of benefits it could bring you. You could use it to go to school down the line, and just it teaches you how to be a man. So I told myself, hey, better way for me to get out of Oakland than to go do something I already know what it's like. I already, watch my father live it and kind of know what to expect, how you're gonna be on the move potentially, and things like that. And, I was like, I'd rather do that and have, job security and have, what I mean, financial security
Right.
and be able to move myself out of, having to grow up in that type of environment at the end of the day. So it was something that I wanted to do, made the decision and did it and never looked back. So it was a great opportunity for me, allowing me to, meet a lot of amazing people and education and come home on all kinds of different things that I was able to gain from being in the military. So I went to go to some good
Okay.
places as well. I was in Japan for
So
a year. So, yep.
so how many years did you actually serve in the Marine Corps? And what
I did
rank
four.
did you get up to? Huh?
I did four and I got up to E4 basically. So it's corporal basically. I just did 4 years, got up to corporal. And then I was like, I had to get up out of there. It was a lot of wear and tear on my body. That's
So
the only reason why I
the
did
time
a lot.
around the time you joined, who was president?
Oh shit, who was president back then? I
Was
got
it
out in
George Bush? Was
2002.
it Clinton
I think it was Bush. I
or
got out in
Barack?
2002. No, definitely not Barack. Mm.
So
I
it
got out
probably
in 2002. So whoever
it
was in that
might,
time frame,
might
it
have been
was
Bill Clinton then.
yeah, it was either
I
Clinton or
don't
Bush.
know.
One of them two was in. I forgot which one it was, but I know I was in from '98 to 2002.
That's how. Well, you didn't know who president was. I don't even much remember. You were trying to get the fuck up out of there, boy. Like, man, y'all
Yeah, no, I had to
tripping,
go. I
man.
had to go.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? Let me get up out of here. So
Like, it
transitioning,
was
I know
definitely a
you probably
journey.
seen a lot too, being in there
Mhm.
and learned a lot. So how was the transition from going to the Marines back to the street, and what when did you actually start getting into music and stuff like that?
Yeah, so coming from the military back to civilian life, that was definitely a big change.
Right.
Because one thing is you go from having that security that you have, always having a roof over your head, you know what I mean, and having income that you know for sure you're gonna get, having job security and all these different things, medical benefits, all these things that you get from being in the military. to not having that at all. So now you have to go and make it happen. So that was definitely a culture shock. It was crazy. I had a job lined up once I got in the military, and then when I got out, I was like, nah, this is not what I want to do. It was definitely once I got it, I learned pretty quickly I wasn't feeling it, and so I
Right.
just started flipping and looking at different things. And what's crazy about it is I was just looking for different jobs and stuff like that. Not too long after I got out, and somebody randomly just hit me up. They saw my resume online. Was like, hey, we like work with military. You guys are pretty disciplined and things like that, and we want to know if you ever thought about doing real estate. And I was like, hey, you know what? Hey, when I was a young man, you saw the people who did real estate on TV. They had the flashy cars, the $1 million house. They had all the ladies, all that. So I was like, hey, look. I was like, yeah, I give it a shot. Why not? Right? And it was the location was literally 2 minutes from my house where I was staying at. So it was like, I was like, why not? I might as well give it a shot. I wasn't doing anything else at the time. So I gave it a shot. And here I am 19, almost 20 years later, doing what I love to do. So just a random phone call. Somebody called me out of the blue. And that's how I ended up getting the real estate. Now, as far as the music, to answer that question, actually, I've always loved music. Even when I was younger, I used to always, just write stuff. I never really got into a studio or anything like that. I usually just write raps and just playing around and things like that, and singing and stuff like that, and doing different things. I used to write poetry as well too. So you know what I mean. I was always gifted with writing and putting words together and stuff like that. But it wasn't until like probably a little between 2 or 3 years ago, I used to play around and do like real estate raps and like just put them online. And it just so happened that one of my clients, he was an artist. His name was Mike McFly. Shout out to my boy. And he was looking to purchase a home at the time. And so we've been talking. We connected on Instagram, and he saw some of my raps. He was like, hey, man, he's actually pretty good for some real estate raps. I know you just be playing around with it. He's like, man, hey, you ever thought about like getting in the studio or something like that?
Right.
And I was like, not really. I just do it for fun because I love doing it. You know what I mean? I love making music or whatever, but I never thought about getting in the studio. So he was like, nah, man, let's go play around. Let's see what happens. And bam, next thing you know, man, we was up in there and ended up connecting with another gentleman, which I don't really mess with him no more, so I ain't gonna bring his name up. But we did a pretty good song that we put out called Wine. So that's a dope song. I'm actually remaking that song right now with Kevin McCall. The one with the Deuces with Chris Brown. So shout out to K-Mac. So me and him, we redoing my song, the first song I did called Wine. So I'm about to probably put that out here in a couple of months. So I already got his verse. I just add mine to it now. So yeah, we're gonna put that out. So we got to make some big moves. But yeah, it was just
up with Kevin, Chris Brown producer. How did that link up happen? Like, how did you meet him?
Yeah, that was through my boy. His name Infrared. He's DJ Quick nephew. So he's an artist. He's been connected to music. He does a lot of stuff with Sugar Free. They perform all the time. I think they performed last night, like Lave Havasu or something. But I'm out here in the Bay Area, so I probably would have been with them. So just knowing the right people, me and my homie Infrared, man, he's a beast. He just dropped a new album too. Shout out to Infrared. His album is fire. You gotta check that out. Look him up. Follow him too. But he was very well connected to Rockstar, the one from Love and Hip Hop, and Kevin McCall. So they were really good friends for many years and stuff like that. So I just happened to, us going out with each other and linking up with those gentlemen, and pretty much then me and Kevin Mack decided we wanted to link up on the song because he had heard my song. He was like, hey, I like that one. So I'm like, we want to do a remix. Let's make it happen. So, we connected, and he did his part. I just got to add mine to it and get it out there. So it's just knowing the right people, man. I've been pretty connected. Like you see my Instagram, you can see some of the people I've been blessed enough to get connected through having good relationships and meet some good people. Most of it's been through my boy Infrared. Has been connected to a lot of people in the music industry. Ultimately, my first part was through my boy Molly McFly. He was the first person that got me connected to some people in the music industry. But then once I made Infrared, he started knowing, the Sugar Frees, the Snoops, you know what I mean, the people like that, you know what I mean, the Rick Rosses of the world, kicking it with him one time too recently, not too long ago. So, just a lot of just meeting the right people. Your network is your network. So. Once you start meeting the right people, getting the right circles, doors start opening. So that's what it's about. But you got to be good, though. When you get in the doors, you got to kick it in, and you got to make the best of it. That's what a lot of people don't realize. You can be around a lot of people, but how you act when you get around them, that's how you're going to build on those relationships. So it's got to be
exactly. So you basically, you're saying you got to be about your business, you know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, for
sometimes
sure.
people get around these people, they act like they fans. Like nobody don't want to be around people you trying to take pictures. Like you got to show that you actually serious about your craft and you could be in their presence and you trying to get somewhere. So
Absolutely.
I most definitely feel you on that. So wine,
Absolutely.
let's get into the music. Wine. Um, what was your creative process when you created this song, Wine?
Um, so pretty much, basically, we just I was connected with the gentleman that's on. I don't want to speak his name. He's not a good person, so yeah, we don't mess with him no more. But um,
Got you.
we all just like was like, hey, we was gonna go to the studio one night and play around with it. They let me hear several beats first, and we just happened to come across the beat for the song. I love the beat. I was like, hey, man. That's kind of my creative process too. When it comes to me making music, I got to hear the beats first, and then once I hear the beats, if I hear something that clicks, then the words start coming to me. And the next thing you know, I start building out the whole song. Like I can come up with a song pretty quickly. Definitely the first couple of verses real quickly just by hearing the beats. And if it talks to me, like I kind of hear words with the beat. It's weird. But that's kind of how my creative process has been working with me, coming up with songs. So it was just, I heard hella beats, and then that was the one that stood out to me the most. And then we were like, hey, let's go to the studio. So we just did all in one night. We literally did all in one night, just went to the studio and just put it all together. And was like, hey, man, this works. And the people that were on the original song wasn't even supposed to be it. It was just supposed to be me and one other person. It
Right.
just happened to be four people in the studio. And they were like, hey, man, I like it. Let me throw some on this. And then it was a female. The female just happened to be there with us in the studio. Her name is Kaz. She's like a Japanese, or Asian, I should say, Asian artist, and she has a pretty big following too. She happened to be in the studio with us. She was like, I like this too. She was like, let me play around with it. And I was like, hey, I like what you did too. I like, we're gonna keep it on there. Let's go.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I told everybody to stay on the song, and we put it out there. I love it. It's a great song.
That's dope. That's dope. So,
Mm-hmm.
main home. What was your creative process when you created this song, and what is this song actually about?
Yeah. So Mayhome, that was like more real. That's more of a real estate song. So what I've been doing kind of with this.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why it's
okay.
called Main Home. So, so that was like more of like content and fun, but it sounds like a real song. That's what everybody tell me. Like, man, it sounds like a real song. I'm like, you know what I mean? Yeah, when I do it, I'm gonna try to do it the best I can. So I want it to sound like a real song to where people don't even realize it's a real estate song until they really pay attention to the words. Like, wait a minute, they are talking about real estate and building wealth and doing things like that. And so that one was. The original song was called Main One. It was by Mario, Tyga, and Lil Wayne. I don't know if you ever heard that song before. It's
Right.
called Main One. So if you look that up, you can hear the beat and stuff like that. But I took that and just flipped it into a real estate song. And so I changed all the words from Main One to Main Home, and then just started putting together a whole song where I flipped the words and made it fit the narrative of a real estate song. And so that's how I did that. But I have about 4 or 5
Wow.
different songs like that I made into real estate songs.
I would have never guessed that. I'm glad I asked you that question because I'm thinking you talking about, honestly, I'm thinking you talking about like, you in a relationship and this is the main home, like, you know what I'm saying? Like referring to you as a man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like how you sung and stuff. I would have never thought that was a real estate song.
Yep, no, nobody
Never would have
does.
guessed.
Everybody's like, man, it sounds like a real.
What's good, y'all? It's your girl Pinterest, and I just want to give a big shout out to Golden Money Team Marketing. Y'all make sure y'all get at them for all promo services, all marketing services, the whole nine, media, all that. Make sure y'all tell them that your girl Pinterest sent you.
Song. I was like, hey, thank you.
They do.
I like that. So no, I got a few songs like that. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I remade freaking what's his name? C3 Diddy's son, the realist what's it called? Damn, I'm losing my train of thought. But the flyest, what's the one we call them out? The flyest in the city. I think that's what it's called.
Flies in the city. I think I don't know.
What's one is it called? Is damn. It was the old school Total Beat, basically. The old school with the Biggie and Total Beat. drawing a blank. I can't think of what the original song is, but I remake that. I think it was called
With
Fire in the
King
City.
Combs featuring A Boogie.
Yeah, that one. That song. So I turned that
Okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Flies in the City
Yeah, that
with
one.
A Boogie with the hoodie.
That's it. Yep. That one. So I remade that one.
Okay. Got you.
So that was pretty fire too. I like that. That's one of my favorite songs. My favorite
So
real estate song, let's just say.
when it comes to music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you feel you stand out as an artist compared to other artists that are in your lane? And how would you categorize yourself as an artist? Because you got, you do it all. You can do hip hop, R&B. Like, what type of artist are you? And where do you
Like
stand
you
out
said,
as far as an artist?
Yeah, I think that's what you just said. It's kind of probably gonna be one of the things that is probably gonna make me stand out more once I blow up even more at the end of the day. Is that I like to do it all. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I can sing a little bit. You know what I mean? I ain't Luther Vandross or nothing like that, but I can hold a note. I can rap. So and I write my own stuff. So nobody writes for me. I write my own stuff. I actually write some stuff for other people sometimes. So some of my songs you might hear some stuff other people might be singing it or whatever, but I might have wrote it at the end of the day. Also, I do different types of songs. So, R&B, hip hop, Afro beats. I just wrote a country rap song the other day called Let's Dance. So I'm going to put that out too as well. So, I'm just going to be doing different types of music. You know what I mean? Like I'm open to whatever. As long as it sounds good, we're going to make it happen. If I like the beat and I like the vibes, we'll put it out there. I don't care, you know what I mean? Because every song ain't going to be for everybody. You never know what song's going to be coming here and how many people across the world going to like it. So, if I'm feeling, I like it myself. That's one thing I do. I have to like it myself before I put it out there. That's one thing with me. Like, if I don't like something I'm doing, I'm not going to put it out there. I don't care what nobody tells me. But if I feel like I like it,
Right.
then I'm going to put it out there to the world.
You never know what's going to work. You just got to stay consistent and keep creating music. You never know what's going to take off because a lot of people, the song that they least like the most, that'd be the one that go.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they were just talking about Tyrese. He ain't like Sweet Lady and the cadence of it. And that blew him up.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs too. I love that song. That's one of my karaoke songs.
Okay. So you're not only an artist, you're a businessman. So how important is it to be business savvy and have a business mind in today's society right now?
Well, it's definitely very important because one, you're gonna be dealing with money at the end of the day, so you want to be able to understand how it works, what to do with your money, first and foremost. We hear all these crazy, sad stories of all these people that become millionaires and next thing you know they broke because nobody taught them how to handle their funds properly, how to watch their money, you know what I mean, and where to place their money at to help it grow. On top of just you getting a check. Okay, you get a check. Now, what can you do with that money? How can you build on that money? Where can you place it at to help it grow? Are you going to start investing? Are you start buying other business? Do you know what to do when you have a business? How are you going to set yourself up to succeed? And learn about taxes and write-offs and all these different things that you need to learn about to help set yourself up for success and learn how to play the game the way everybody else that don't look like us have learned how to play the game. So that's what it's about. It's really just, learning what to do with finances once you get it, how to get it at the end of the day too. First and foremost, how to get those finances and get those funds. But once you get it, what to do with it so it keeps growing. Even when you sleep, that's one of the biggest things everybody talk about. I want my money to keep growing when I'm asleep. Once you get there, you're going to win it. Mm-hmm.
And my next question for you is, because I know you are a business savvy and you're a very educated brother, why do you feel it's important for you not to put all your eggs in one basket and to have so many businesses and the network, the way you network, why is it important to do that for you in your case?
Okay, go ahead. To me, it's important to definitely have as many different sources of income as you can, because for one, it's expensive out here, especially in California. You know what I mean? So you want as many income streams as you can just to survive, first and foremost. But the more you can build your network, the more opportunities you get. You know what I mean? I'm trying to retire young. That's my goal. Retire young and leave something for my kids, to leave a legacy for my children. I want them to have houses that I bought for them. You know what I mean? That they can turn around and pass on to their kids and build and, make moves to create more properties. you know, at the end of the day. So to me, it's important to know how to do those things and how to shut yourself up for sure.
Got you. So, what was your first business venture that you ventured into besides music?
Um, it was the pretty much, well, I mean, I've done all kind of different little things that, you know, I want to talk about, but the bigger business was definitely the glass business. And then the
Preferred
clothing.
glass?
Yeah, preferred glass. That was probably the first bigger one where I went in with a couple of different partners. And we purchased the business a few years back. That's been moving and things like that. And then the next one was the club, and now I'm looking to probably go on with another one or two other investors. We're looking at some hookah lounges that we want to do. One of my friends, when here's we say it's a very important network, right? So I know several people that own clubs throughout San Diego, actually in different places as well, different parts of California, whatever. But I live in San Diego myself, so I know a lot of different club owners, and so one of them just opened a new club. It's called Blue Cabanas. It looked like a resort, bro. You go there, it looks like you're at a resort. You would not realize you were just somewhere in you know, like Barrio Logan, San Diego, like a regular street in San Diego. You think you're at a resort. That's how crazy it's set up. But you know, they definitely trying to find someone that could do an after-hours spot, specific after-hours spot, or something along those lines for people to go to for their venue and stuff like that. So we're trying to see how we can put some stuff together and get some after-hour spots going. You know, hookah lounge, some along those lines for sure. But it's gonna be lit though.
Facts. And with the club scene, most definitely you could be a promoter as well and book artists. You know, because if you're the owner, they don't have to go through these shady promoters. You own the club.
Yeah, for sure. And
you know what I'm saying? So something most definitely could be worked out.
That's how I was gaining connections too. So being part of club owner, it allowed me to start meeting other artists and famous people and stuff like that, and build network too. Like I said, you meet them because you want to try to bring them to the club and things like that, so they can perform or do shows there. But then you also start to build relationships. You know what I mean? So now it opened up a door for me to start meeting different people and building my network for sure. So that was part of the reason why I started meeting different people too, and building those relationships.
Got you. So talking about your catalog, what are you going to do to build the bigger catalog? You know, like what are your goals when it comes to your music? Like, how many songs do you feel like you're going to put out this year? You know, when it comes to building your catalog.
Because crazy this year.
Yeah, because I was looking at the catalog.
Yeah, no,
I want more. I want more.
So I put a lot of.
I most definitely want more.
I put a lot of snippets on my IG page just so people can kind of see what I'm working on. But I got about 19 songs, man. We're about to go crazy. Trust me. I got 19 songs. I got a song I did with Sequence Clark. I don't know if you know who Sequence Clark is. You ever heard of him before?
Nah.
Oh man,
who is he?
He about to blow up. He's an R&B singer, man. He about to blow up too, man. He just got signed with somebody big. I can't put his business out there like that, but you know who he is.
Right. Congratulations.
So, his music is fire too. Yeah, definitely.
Most definitely got to
information.
Yeah.
I'll shoot you his information. So no, he got some fire music, man. He's blowing up. I think he just did some stuff with like Timbaland or something like that. I know they was working with each other. They were on live together the other day, so I think they about to get some music out there together too, or whatever, potentially. For what he was saying, I believe so. Man, but I got a song with him that's called "This Time Around." It's like a marriage proposal song. That's probably my favorite song right now. So I'm gonna be releasing that one too. That one I feel like. You know, I ain't gonna say it's "Let's Get Married," but I'm hoping it'd be something like that, something close to it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Most definitely want to hear more from you and more from your music. Yeah. So, New American Funding. Can you explain what that is for the people that don't know and how that was started?
Yeah. So that's a mortgage company. So basically. And it's also minority owned, so that's one of the good reasons why I've been there for so long. So I don't necessarily own the company. I run my own business, so to speak. I work at somebody else's company or whatever, but it's just me. You know what I mean? I run my own day-to-day, everything, things like that. I don't really have to answer to anybody. You can do what I want to do, basically. Kind of hold your business out of their business type thing, right? You know what I mean? But it's a mortgage company that's been around for a long period of time, and it's a great company because they actually do a lot of different type of loans for you know for the Black community. You know what I mean? So they probably do the most loans out of anybody that's not a bank that only does just mortgages. So they do the most loans for people of color out of all the banks that do just mortgages. So you have like bigger banks like Wells Fargo where they do banking and Chase, stuff like that. They might do more, but that's where they're way bigger than us at the end of the day. But New American Funding is a nationwide company. But out of all the banks that only do mortgages, we do the most for people of color. So that's one of the reasons.
And speaking of loans, you are also a loan consultant. So I can see how you lined yourself up with them. So what are you doing to help the community, the Black community, as far as loans, and what are some misconceptions about loans that people need to know and be aware of?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is actually, that you brought that up, I actually did mention this earlier, but I'm part of a really big national organization called NARAB. That's the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. So it's a nationwide organization. It's built up of mainly Black people, but anybody can join it. We don't discriminate at all at the end of the day, but it is predominantly Black people. And so what this is an organization that's built up, they fight for democracy in housing. And so, you might have heard of things like redlining and things like that. So we were instrumental in helping to get that stopped, even though technically it's still kind of happening at the end of the day.
It is
under wraps. But we stopped them from being able to do it openly, let's say it like that. So we fall, down at the Capitol, at the White House. We were one of the ones that were instrumental in fighting to get these type of things, prevent these type of things from continuing to happen openly. Let's say it that way. But no, we do a lot of work in the community. So we're always out there doing community work, doing homebuyer workshops, financial literacy. We work within the communities. We help. So we have natural disasters, like recently we had the floods in San Diego, even the fires in LA. You have the chapters in LA and also the surrounding chapters that went out there to help too, to help get back to the community. So we're out there getting donations. We're out there helping people rebuild their homes, pick up trash, and do all kind of crazy different things to help within the community. But the main thing is definitely, fighting for rights for the underserved communities and figure out how we can put ourselves in a better position to win, to become homeowners, to bridge the gap of generational wealth and to bridge the gap of homeownership. Because realistically, you have white people, I think about 70 to 72% of them own homes, but only like 43 to 44% of Black people own homes. So we got almost a 30% gap in and how much people that look like us own homes versus people that look like them. And so, and there's a lot of things that have been put in place to prevent us from becoming homeowners. It wasn't just because we didn't know, we didn't have knowledge, we don't want to. There's definitely been things that have been put in place, like the redlinings and the different crazy things that have been put out there. So we fight to get these things removed, and then ultimately we fight and we work with each other to teach our people how to bridge that gap. So everything that entails homeownership, we're going to teach it to you, whether it be credit, financial literacy, taxes, how to invest, whatever it is. We have people from all walks of life too. It's not just loan officers or real estate agents. You got lawyers. You got all kind of different people. Title.
Stop playing. Yes, it's D Black. But check this out. You want to be fresh, hot, cool like D Black? Well, I suggest you work with Golden Money Team Marketing. They'll put you out, they'll keep you out, and they'll keep the ball rolling. All you need to do is hit that link somewhere around here. Stop playing. Bye.
Escrow, appraisal people, all kinds of different things that are part of this organization. And so, and I'm the first vice president for our San Diego chapter. So, so definitely, I love what I do. So I love getting back to people and teaching them how to build wealth and do what they need to do. So, that's one of the ways that I use real estate to give back to the community, and what I do is be a part of this organization.
And that's something that need to be talked about more, especially with redlining and stuff like that. Especially when we selling our homes, they might give somebody else a higher price on their home and give us a lower one.
Yeah.
And our house might be bigger than theirs, and we might have made more upgrades than theirs, but when they appraise their house, it's way more value than ours is on the market. So yeah, that's something that need to be talked about for sure. And people like you, we want to see you win, because when we have more educated Black folks winning, and successful, and that's willing to help help our people and people in general that are not our skin color, everybody can win. You know what I'm saying? Because you got some people that are in position. Once they get there, they don't think about nobody else. They just think about themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't got to go through that no more. They forget, you know what I'm saying, where they came from. So it's good to see that, you know, you got the mentality to help out those who are less fortunate, not only that are your skin color, but people that are not, that don't look like those other ethnicities. I mean, you know what I'm saying, that are out there. So I applaud you on that for sure. So you also are part owner of Black Owned Co. Can you break down what that is?
Oh no, that was just at black owned company. I think I was talking about the club because I didn't have enough space to put it in there, so I'm just saying a black owned.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's what that is.
Yeah,
So what is the
exactly.
name of the club, so everybody can know?
Well, it was called Purple Space. Like I said, I'm not owner of it anymore. You know, we just the person I was working with, no bueno, I had to remove myself in that situation. So that's why I'm looking at doing a new
Gotcha.
club, working on a hookah lounge. Just to, but I learned a lot from that situation. You know, in life, sometimes that's what it's about. You know, you're gonna go through some good investments, some bad investments, but every single investment you do, you gotta learn and figure out how to get yourself into a better situation. So I learned a lot from that, and it gave me the confidence of what I need to do to learn how to run a club and how to set yourself up for success, what to watch out for, the type of people you don't want to work with, those type of things. So all these different lessons I learned from that experience from owning the club for about a year or so, and then moving on to now I know the next thing we do is gonna be even better than what we had set up before. So
Facts.
we
So
working on it.
going through your experiences, right? Not to bring that up because I know you don't want to dig too deep in it, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna just ask the question like this then, because we don't want to bring that person up. What are some things when you're going in a partnership with some people that you need to be aware of and that you need to set in place? That way, when you do go in a partnership with someone, you guys don't separate just to make the business more successful. What are some things that you think you need to set in place before going into business with someone in a partnership?
Well, you definitely depending on the ownership percentages, things like that would definitely play a big part in what you do. Because if someone owns more than you do, a higher percentage, they'll be able to call more shots. And so you have to make sure that if you are not the majority owner of the business, you better make sure whoever is the majority owner is somebody that's going to be trustworthy. They're going to be smart, willing to listen to all the other investors involved in the business. At the end of the day, they're just upstanding people. You don't want to work with someone who does some stuff they shouldn't be doing type deal, and you know what I mean, and they're not going to do
Facts.
the best thing for everyone involved in the investment, maybe just themselves. And so you want to vet them fully and find out how they work business wise, but also find out how they are personally, who they are as a person. And so that was one of the things that I didn't do, to be honest with you, was didn't vet the full person. And it didn't work out the way that I wanted to, but that was a learned lesson for me. And
But
so now I know
people can be
in the middle of
chameleons out here.
yeah,
Not to interrupt you, but
exactly.
people can be chameleons out here, and some of the things that you highlighted, they could actually show one thing and they could make themselves look a certain way, but they're
Yeah,
not. So do you think contractually you need to have some things that are set in place when you're going into a partnership with someone? That way they can't
yeah, that's what I was
override that.
gonna
That
say.
way they have to listen to your input and your thoughts. Like even though they do have 2% or 1% over you, or even more than that, do you feel it's a great idea to have a contract set in place to where that don't happen? So what kind of stipulations would you stipulate in the contract going into partnerships for those who are watching and they want to get into business? What type of stipulations would you have in the contract when going into business with a person when you're dealing with a partnership if you're not
Yeah. So
the
first off, you
majority owner?
definitely got you. So first off, you definitely want to get you a great lawyer that understands whatever business you're doing, whatever
Mm.
billings you have. You need to have a lawyer that's great at that, for one, first and foremost. And then you want to try to put in outs for yourself. So you're going to say, hey, I might not be the majority owner, but, if you're the one making the calls on what's going to happen with my funds and how this thing works, if we don't hit this goal by here, I need to get my money back. Or if we don't have, you know what I mean? Like, hey, if you make bad decisions and it leads to all of us losing our money, I need to have some kind of way where I'm going to get paid back. Or I need to be able to get out after a year and get my money back. You need to pay me my money back, whatever. You have to put some type of stipulations in there that's going to give you an out if the people making the decision, the final decision, I should say, are not making the right moves and it's causing people to lose money. So you want to try to put some things like that in place to protect yourself at the end of the day and kind of hold people's feet to the fire because, that was something that I learned that I should have didn't do at the end of the day. So, but moving forward, I promise you that it will be done. I will definitely make sure that, you know what I mean, that I will be protected from start to finish for sure. And, and with those type of things, if you're protected and the business goes bad, then it's just a loss, it's a learned lesson. But, when someone is doing negative things that's ultimately causing you to go out of business and you're trying to stop them from doing those things and, giving options to where you can change things and make things better and they don't accept it, that's when you got to say, hey, you making us go down, not us just failing because we're not doing the right things. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by vetting people you work with. You want to try to find someone who at least everything you've seen says they're going to be that person. Like you said, people can be chameleon and, once people start getting money and real money in their pockets, they start acting different too. So that's another thing that you can't really call until, unless you already know they got real money to begin with. But, people start making hundreds of thousands of dollars pretty quickly. And, next they're a millionaire or something like that. You don't know how that money's gonna go to their head and how they're gonna, how they're gonna start acting. You know what I mean? So people start getting greedy and start doing crazy things, or they might have vices where they might go start spending money doing crazy stuff, and then that causes them to change who they are. So all these different things.
So money does change people in a way for the good or for the bad. So I'm talking about on the same subject, but we're gonna talk about the ownership. So as an owner, and you getting into that field of being an owner, what things would you do differently as an owner to help build the company? Like, if someone wants to be an owner of a company, right? What things do they have to do to help build that company? And how should they go about treating their employees or partners to make sure that the company flourishes? Like, what are some things that you recommend people to do if they're in that position so they won't make that mistake?
I mean, it definitely depends. So, like, let's just say if you're someone who buys businesses, even if you don't know how they work, but you see great opportunities, you better have somebody smarter than you in the room. You know what I mean? Like, you want to make sure that anybody you hire is an expert in the business that you have. So I used to, know a couple of groups that would go around and buy businesses, and what they would do is they would go take over business, but whoever was there the longest, like say you have someone that was a higher up in the business, maybe someone on the board or someone that worked in the company for a long time, 20, 30 plus years, and they would say, hey, you've been running this, or they've already been running it. They may not be an owner, but they've been working here for a long time. So they would try to pinpoint those type of people where you can say, hey, I would love to keep you on to potentially run a business for me. And then over the next year or two, you teach me or teach my team, people I have under me, how to do everything that I do. I need them to be your mini-me for the next year or two. So that way we can have someone that can turn around and run the company on a day-to-day if you don't want to be that person yourself. So you could choose to be that person if it's something that you love and something that you want to do. But there are people out there who buy businesses just to buy them because they see the great opportunities and they have other people running for them and just collect a check. But they still learn the business once they get it. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to get took. You don't know what you're doing. Somebody's going to take you easily. So you're still going to learn everything, but you want to make sure that you have people who are experts in your field running the business for you. If you're going to take over a business that you didn't know about previously, you just saw a good opportunity. So it's very important to have good people around you that know the business. If you get people that are smarter than you in the room, that's a win. You know what I mean? Right. You know what I mean? So those are probably my biggest things, is to make sure that you got good people that know what they're doing. And you definitely want to be good at marketing. You want to make sure you have a great marketing team, people who understand how to get the business out there and get the word out. You know what I mean? So that's good. And then, listen to people. One of the biggest things that I think owners and people in general do is they don't listen to what the people are telling them. Make sure you're always asking people, hey, what do you feel like we need to do to make this business better? Like, what's going to make you come here more? What's going to make you spend more money? What's going to make you be happy? What's going to make you bring more people? What's going to make you talk about us? What's going to make you post about us? What's going to make you want to, help me build my business and bring more people to me and put more money in my pocket while me giving you a great service in return. So I think listening to people and really finding out what people want to make your business succeed is something that a lot of owners don't do. You know what I mean? So, and then find it out. And also just as an owner, going around looking at other business, people who do the same business, you go around seeing what's successful. So when I was thinking about doing a club, I went to clubs in different states, especially my real estate stuff. So we do conferences all over. So every time I go to a conference, I make sure I hit up different clubs, different hookah lounges, different stuff, all the most popping is one. So you find out from the locals, hey, what's the best club out here? What's the most popping club? And go see what they got to do. But once you get all these different places like Houston, and, different parts of California, different states, New Orleans, you start seeing what the most popular clubs are, and you take all of it and you try to melt it into one big pot for your business. So I even in Vegas, I went to a couple of different clubs in Vegas and got some ideas of what I want to do. So trust me, when we get the next venture, it's gonna be something to see for sure. So I got to bring out
San Diego, man.
You got to come through.
Facts. You got Benji Frank. He said, "Shout out to Dluv."
Yeah,
shout out to Benji Frank out there.
Yeah, man. He's a top producer, man. That's the man right there. Make sure you follow Benji Frank. That's family right there, too. Okay. So he's a top producer in Vegas. He's one top producer of the year 2 years in a row. So he's doing big things out there. Make sure y'all follow him and tap in if you're an artist. He got some fire beats, too. So,
him on the platform, for sure. Benji, tap in this, man, for sure. So we almost done. We about to wrap it up. I hope y'all taking notes, man, because y'all don't have only an artist, but this is also a business owner. He knows the business, real estate. So I really want you guys to learn. Every guest brings something different to the table. So, I hope y'all paying attention. So one thing I like to ask my guests that come on, all my guests, what do you value more, morals or money, and why?
Morals. I think that people who have great morals, money is going to gravitate to you. People are going to gravitate to you. Therefore, the money that they spend will gravitate to you as well. So if you have good morals, you do great things, eventually good things will happen to you. Yes, bad things happen to good people, but in the long run, you keep doing good things, sooner or later, your number will get called, and you're going to get your blessing that you need. So I think morals is important. Anybody can make money, but everybody can't be a good person. And most people will gravitate to good people more than they will to people with money, for sure.
Okay.
Hey, what's happening? This LA from Trimix CNT. Make sure y'all tune in. Golden Money Team Marketing, man, for all your needs. Musicians, businesses, brands. Reach out to them. Tell them LA from Trimix CNT sent you.
Mr. D, what comes first in your life? Money, power, or respect? And explain why in each order.
Got you. So I think definitely I'm going to say respect first, because I think that if people don't respect what you do, they're not going to spend money on you, at the end of the day. So whatever you're doing to be respected, then I think people are going to start rocking with you more. And then that's where you get to start making more money. And then once you make more money, ultimately that's when you get the power. So, you know what I mean? You can get power in other ways, and this all have to be making money, but everybody knows the more money you have, the more power it's going to come with it. So I would say respect, respect, money, and then power. That would be the order that I would go with at the end of the day, for sure.
Got you. And another question that I have for you, how did you come up with your artist name, Mr. Dluv? Now, me personally, I'm like, he must be laying down hella dick out here, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? Mr. Dluv, you feel me? That's the only thing I think about. I'm like, okay, I see where he going with this one, but I just want to hear it from you. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, I know he just laying dick down out here, but hey,
Hey,
You know what I'm
listen,
saying?
that was a
What
nickname.
did you come with this name? What's the meaning behind this name, man? For the ladies that want to know, man, and for everybody, all your fans that want to know, because I know I'm like, okay, Mr. D, okay, I see where he going with this one, but I just want to hear from your mouth. What does this name mean?
All right, man. So
For real.
I've had that nickname since probably like high school or something like that. Yeah, definitely years, man. A couple ladies gave me that name, and it stuck. Everybody
Yeah.
started calling me. I started running with it. I started getting shirts made. When I was in high school, you know, I was working my little job. I had my little shirts made with Mr. Dluv on the back, and they see, you know, it stuck with me all these years. Like everybody used to call me, they'd be like, Dluv got the ladies. Everything my boys used to always say.
Right.
So, you know, I was a little pretty boy in high school, I ain't gonna lie. And plus I played football, I was one of the better players and stuff like that. So, you know,
Okay.
that what you said might be part of it too. That might be part of it.
I was figuring, I'm like, yeah, I already know what time this is right here. You hear me? Like, I already know what time it is, but this boy was a cold player out here. For real.
Couple ladies start calling me that, and then next thing you know, I just
Yeah.
get around with it, and everybody was calling me that. So yeah, everybody be like, D-Love.
I'm like, is it from being the D lineman or is it from laying the D down? It gotta be one or the other. Cause I know you were playing football, but that boy was really playing out here.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, it did.
Okay.
Definitely say that. It definitely came for the ladies.
Got you. So, what do you have as for your top 5 artists in the game, past or present? What are your top 5 artists
Top 5, you know, we gotta go with Tupac. We gotta go with
of all
Tupac.
time? Tupac.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say Tupac, Biggie. I'll put Jay-Z up there.
Okay.
Sheesh. Let me see who I want to go. See, this is where it be getting hard for me. Who I want to put in this 3 or 5 spot. I ain't gonna say Drake, man.
No particular order. So you got Tupac, Biggie, you said, and then what was the other one? Jay-Z?
Jay-Z, probably Nas.
Mm.
And I'm trying to think who I would say for the 5th person. I mean, there's so many people I love, so shit. I mean, it's like you gotta put the people who've been doing it for a long time, you know what I mean? Like you gotta give a shout out to the Lil Waynes, the Snoops, the E40s, you know what I mean? Like I'll put all of them up there because they all been doing it for 20, 30 plus years, you know what I mean? So for me, I'm gonna have one of them in there that has been, you know, making hits for 20, 30 plus years. You know, I put all those people in
Got you.
my top.
So by you being from Oakland, I know y'all got a lot of greats coming out of Oakland. What would you say your top 5 is in Oakland? You can include yourself. You know, what would be your top 5 artists coming out of Oakland?
Nah, I ain't gonna make myself top 5. Keep it a buck. We definitely gonna have like. Nah, not there. Definitely not there yet. But we want to be one day. Definitely goals. But you know, definitely, obviously, you know, you got the Too Shorts. And I like to say like the Bay Area. So you know what I mean. People are gonna rep the Bay Area as a whole. So I mean, I'll say like the Too Shorts, the E40s. One person I like right now that's going crazy, La Russell, man. I love his music, man. That dude's a beast. La Russell, man. I love his music.
Yep.
So I'm putting him in my top 5 just based on the way he's doing it because all positive energy, good music. So I love La Russell, but sure, I definitely want to try to do a feature with him. I definitely want to do a feature with La Russell.
He giving them out. He giving them out too.
He
giving them out. All you got to do is contact me.
I'm gonna hit him up
for sure.
I want to do it with him. I definitely plan on doing it with him. Let me see who else out of Oakland. Let's see.
Too Short, E40, La Russell.
Yep. You know, he loves like to keep the sneak stuff like that. You know, you got like the Yuck Mouths, the RBL posses. You know, I like all the older people. There's some younger cats out there too, but.
Is Sally Sell from Oakland? You know who Sally Sell is?
Yeah, I know Sally Sell. Yeah, it's going down.
Man, I used to listen to him.
That was my favorite song.
Yeah. I used to listen to him back in the day with Be Legit and all them boys.
Yeah. You have the 3 Times Crazy, the Brother Lynch Hugs, you know, the Spice One.
Yeah.
That's my
Spice One. Oh yeah. Ooh, Spice One.
Yeah. Now you got the little Fabby Davis Jr. He's fire too.
Right.
I love Fabby Davis Jr. His music is fire too. So shout out to him, Dope Era. They out there in the Beard right now doing big things too for the community. That's why I love artists that don't just make music. They try to do good things for good people. So I'm always gonna gravitate more to those type of artists too. That's you can see that they generally good people and they ain't about just making music.
Facts.
They're about businesses and community. So I'm always gonna gravitate more to those artists for sure.
So, by you being out there on the West Coast, what do you feel about the impact of Nipsey Hussle and that he had on the game and on the West Coast period? Like how impactful was that? Because I'm not from over there, so I wouldn't know. But by you being from over there, how impactful do you think Nipsey Hussle was when he was out here, when he was alive?
He was very impactful. You see right now, even to this day, people still play his music. Look, I literally got a Nipsey Hussle shirt. You see that?
Right. Okay, I ain't just noticed that.
There you go. Look,
Facts.
that, right? You see how stuff work out.
Right.
But no, the thing that I liked about him too again was he talked about businesses. And he was good within the community. See, they got the Marathon Burger and they got all the stuff that they have popping even after his death. They're doing things,
Right.
To remember him by. And so, he left a legacy of not just music, but talking about real things and real business and also giving back to the community and doing good things in the community. So I think that's why a lot of people respect him. I think the reason why people respected Tupac too. Tupac talked about a lot of stuff, even political stuff that, for somebody to only be as young as he was and, and having that type of, talking about these type of things in his lyrics, I think that's why these artists stand out because, it's just not all shoot 'em up, kill. They talk about real stuff, you know what I mean? So.
Facts. That's why I like these type of interviews where not only we talking about music, but we could actually talk about educated things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So another question is off topic. You know what I'm saying? It's dealing about what's going on currently in hip hop. What do you feel about the rolling 60s and this case with Big U? How they picked all them boys up. What do you feel about what's going on with that? How they're indicting all these people, not just in Cali, but they targeting people in Cali right now, for sure. What do you feel about the Big U indictment and what type of effect do you think that's going to have on Cali and its artists? Because, it's a lot of gang activity out there, and they look like they targeting gangs. Specifically, as you can see, they did Young Thug. They got him with the gang conspiracy and all these other artists. What do you feel about what's going on with that?
I didn't know the full specifically. I know my boys talk about a lot his specific case. But I didn't know the full details on it, just because I've had a lot of personal stuff, so I haven't been paying attention to all that stuff recently. But we have definitely been talking about how all these big artists have been going to jail. And one of the things we were talking about with Infrared, him and Yuck Mouth, they was on the interview the other day. They was talking about this on their podcast about how, you got these artists out here telling themselves. They be out here on all these songs just telling everything they be doing. Then they go do these vlogs and these videos with all these people and they start running their mouth again on there. And it's like, yo, you literally giving them all the bait that they need. You're too busy trying to get likes and, go viral. You over here telling yourself, posting on yourself, doing all this crazy stuff and then wondering why, you be making it easy for them to just come and get you. So I think that's a big reason why we starting to see all these artists getting locked up now is because they kind of telling themselves, and they everybody's too worried about going viral. You know what I mean? They worry about going viral instead of being smart and keeping their business to themselves. They got to be like ghosts. You know what I mean? You got to move in silence, but these people not moving in silence no more, and they starting to get caught up. And like you said, they're trusting people. With the one with the Young Dirk or whatever his name, with the dude Wired. You got people wired. Just telling on you, man. You got a lot of snitching too.
Yeah.
People snitching right now.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it.
And that happened in Cali too. They ran up on his cousin, and not Lil Durk cousin, but Quando Rondo cousin, and they murdered him in California. You know what I'm saying? In broad day. daylight in an area that is not known for crime. So it's getting crazy out here.
Yeah.
And to reflect on what you're saying, like if you're an artist and you come on a podcast, if you talking about something that you wasn't charged for and that's a closed case, don't talk about it. Now, if the case is closed, you can talk about that all you want to. But if you got away with it, and or you doing something out here that you never was charged for, don't talk about that online, man. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing, though. Even if the case closed, they just you start opening up new evidence, that case can be reopened. So like people just gotta learn how to, take it to their grave and be quiet and stop talking so much, trying to be hard. You know what I mean? It's
like for a closed case, they can't really recharge you with something that's closed. You know what I'm saying? Unless you talking about murder or something. Now, if you done sold drugs, yeah. If it's murder or something like that, nah. But if you done beat a nigga ass or sold drugs, or you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Anxious Money. Just want to give a quick shout out to Golden Money Team Marketing for any type of help with music, media, promotion, marketing. Got you. Again, Golden Money Team Marketing. Salute.
Who's out here robbing motherfuckers, but you got charged for it. You did your time for it. That's different. But if you talking about murders, how you extorting people and you never got charged for it or anything that's criminal, keep your mouth closed, man. Don't, you're trying to go viral and trying to make yourself look a certain way on the internet just to get views and likes. It ain't worth it. You end up, you're gonna end up getting yourself indicted for sure.
Yeah, and not only that, like you got these people, these artists that is just, you have the industry that's telling them to do this stuff. Yeah, we need to create a beef with somebody. Now they out here purposely creating beefs, and you know what I mean. And I realized, hey, the industry might be telling you to do this to make money, but even though the other artist may not be the person to do it, one of his fans might go crazy on you because they're a diehard fan. They see you in the traffic somewhere and you get caught slipping. You know what I mean? So it's like, it'd be crazy to me. All these people be making all these millions of dollars and they be over here trying to beef with people. Like, you know what I mean? Jay said, I got too much to lose. Like, I ain't trying to beef with you. You know what I mean? I got too much to lose. So I'm not trying to, lose the legacy that I've built. So I ain't got time for the beef, man. I'm trying to make the bucks, like all that. You feel me? So I think people just got to realize, once you get to a certain level of life, don't mean let everybody punk you, but you know what I mean? You got to take it to the point where somebody might lose their life. Like, you got to figure out how to just, man, I ain't got time for it. As long as you don't step in my circle, that's what I tell anybody. You can say whatever you want from over there, but until you get within arm's length distance, I ain't got time for it. You ain't talking about nothing. So keep it moving, brother.
Facts. Because you got to be smarter than the next person out there. People will try to trick you out your position, and once they see you getting somewhere and they making it, certain things are not worth it when you're getting a certain amount of money and you got a lot of people depending on you. You trying to prove something. If you already, people like me and you, we done been through the worst. You done seen things that you wasn't supposed to see as a youngster, and we ain't really got nothing to prove. If somebody disrespect me, as long as you ain't putting your hands on me or act like you about to do something to me, I can walk away from that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
No problem, because when I was younger, I would have hit you in your shit. But right now, I'm getting to the bag. The type of energy you put out, the same energy you put out, you're going to get back. So you're going to try somebody that's still in that life and that don't care, and then you're going to get what's coming to you. You know what I'm saying? So, unless you got to definitely protect yourself, that's the only time you should be doing something. That's what I recommend for people. But if not, man, hey, man, just keep it moving, man. Don't let nobody trick you out your position.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Once you get to a certain stage of life, man, you can't have time for the BS. Like, if somebody just want to run their mouth, I don't care, man. As long as you ain't in my face disrespecting me, disrespecting, family, kids, and stuff like that, then, you know what I mean? And in my face doing it, I ain't got no time for it. You know what I mean? So,
Facts.
Don't go over with all that. I'll ignore you to the day I die, man. You're going to be talking to yourself. As long as it ain't faking my money, I ain't got nothing to talk about. For real.
And another thing is, what you feel about these people, with the state that we in of technology, AI, and all this, you know, you have some of these artists, you know, they're talking on phones. They're saying that, you know, they had Lil Baby on the wiretap. I don't know how true it is, allegedly, about talking for murder for hire and stuff like that. How important do you feel it is to not discuss street stuff even on the phone? You know what I'm saying? Like, how important it is for artists, you know, if you out here in these streets, how important it is for you not to be talking on the phone and just sticking to your craft. Like, how important is that nowadays, knowing the height of technology and how many people getting charged with conspiracy charges? How important you feel it is for artists to be aware of these things and, you know, to just go on that straight and narrow path since you into that money, since you getting the money now?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely important to watch what you say. I mean, it's not even on the phone, just in real life, because somebody could be recording you on the phone. You know what I mean? So you need to be watching what you say at all times, depending on who's in your, you know, in your area. You know what I mean? So not just phones, just period in general, because too many people out there will try to get you caught up, like you said, extort you, all kind of crazy stuff if they feel like they can take advantage of you and they really need that money. You know what I mean? Once people need money, they start doing stuff that's funny at the end of the day. And so, and if you know you in here talking about something you ain't got no business doing, then you just got to be smart about it. You know what I mean? Like, don't be on the phones. But what was crazy with the AI thing, though, is that people can make up stuff. Like, it's so crazy right now, you ain't going to really know what to believe. They got stuff that you can take an artist's voice and make a whole song with. You think they can't take an artist's voice and make a phone call, make a fake phone call? So it's like, people are now going to be able to start using that as outs, whether they really did something or not. They're like, that's AI. You know, it's going to be real quick for somebody to start blaming AI when somebody catch them up like that.
Man.
So I don't know how much that's going to be usable in court no more, or, you know, street law is different. People might not care to hear that, but in court, court law might be a different story. You know, you might be able to start getting away with
right.
it.
Yeah, it's like, do they have technology to detect if it's AI or not? Because as you can see, what's going on with Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
Like, was that AI? Was that really him? Like, you know, and you know, Shannon Sharp is one of the people that came from nothing, and for him to be viewed as this type of person in the public eye right now, even when that thing leaked when he was having sexual intercourse on the internet, now all of a sudden you have 18-year-old or 19-year-old girl allegedly accusing him for doing things.
Yeah, the OnlyFans girl.
Yeah, the OnlyFans girl.
Yeah, crazy.
And she got the audio out. She putting out audio. That could be AI. Now that I'm thinking about it.
It could be.
It's a dirty game out here.
Yeah. So you got to be able to protect yourself, and, you know, like you said, not only not be on the phones, but stop putting yourself in bad predicaments. You know, you got to watch where you're going. Make sure you understand that when you're going out to the clubs, you need to make sure that you know what I mean, learn about the club you're going to. If they got, you know, shady people there, shady women there, that you know might be willing, or shady guys too at the end of the day, that might be willing to try to do some shady stuff to take advantage of you and get in your pocket.
Right.
You gotta learn how to keep yourself from environments, or just make sure you're protected. Make sure you always got somebody with you. You know what I mean? Make sure we always got the cameras out so females come up. Somebody need to be paying attention. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, it's easy to get AI and anything else to make it look like you did something you didn't do. So,
right. And you got to be careful just talking on the phone with anybody, like you said, because people just be recording you to record you. You know, even 50 Cent, he don't record a young buck. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be on your P's and Q's. You know what I'm saying out here? If somebody feel they can get the ups on you and they can record you, they're going to do it. And also these artists and people in general, men in general, even women, you got to be careful of the if you're a male, you got to be careful of the females you're dealing with. And if you're a woman, you got to be careful of what type of men you're dealing with. Because right now, in the times we're in right now, you can't trust nobody.
You can't, man. You can't. People be committing fraud, even in real estate, man. I've been doing this for almost 20 years. Just within the last 2 years alone, I had more people trying to commit fraud than the whole rest of my career. So it's like, right now, the world is going crazy. Like, everybody, people is desperate right now, so they're doing whatever they can to survive. And so that's what's happening in the world. You got gotta pay attention, fly right, and keep your head on the swivel, man, or else somebody gonna try to knock you down for sure.
Facts, 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 facts. Man, this a great conversation, man.
For sure.
So
Absolutely.
when it comes to your music, where can people find you on social media, Spotify? Like, how can they find you on social media? And what social media
Instagram
profiles can they find you on?
Yeah,
All
so
right.
you can do Instagram, on IG, it's Mr. Dluv, so MR, then D, then LUV. Same thing for for the music. You go on like all the platforms. So when I drop the music, it's gonna all just put up Mr. Dluv, and then anything I'm doing should drop. But I'm about to drop a couple songs here coming up next month. I'm gonna drop a song called Magic City. So that's with me and my boy Mom McFly. Then like a couple weeks after that, I'm gonna drop another song called Mozzie. So it's a song about cars, Maserati cars, stuff like that. So got a couple of songs that we're about to drop too. So look for those to come out, and then probably this time around and a couple of songs. So probably before summer, I'm gonna have at least 5 to 7 more albums out for sure. We're going full throttle right now. So
Right.
Get ready to go.
Man, I can't wait. So, so as far as your music, when they type it in, is Mr. D.L.U.V.
Yeah.
D as in dog.
Then space. Not dot, just space.
Okay.
So Mr. then space.
Okay.
D then space then LUV. Yeah.
Okay, got you. So if y'all want to tap in, lock in with them on the, if y'all want to get booked for shows in Cali, this is the person to go to. Like you said, he's a business owner. He's not just the artist. He owns the club. He has the connection. So this is someone you most definitely want to be connected with when you're out in Cali. If you want to perform, y'all make sure y'all follow Mr. D Love on Instagram and hit him in the DM. You know what I'm saying? He's very approachable. If you about your business, everything should go well. You know what I'm saying? Don't be on no foolishness. You feel me? If you don't got your money right, don't contact people because this is a business.
No time for the fake
For
ones.
sure. No time for the fake ones, man.
Yeah. But definitely
most definitely
too, for sure. So.
Facts. Most definitely, we gonna have to chop it up for sure. I'm gonna hit you up after this. And everybody, thanks for watching Street Dialogue. Shout out to our sponsors at Golden Money Team Marketing. If you need marketing, message Golden Money Team Marketing on Instagram. They market you 24/7 around the clock, nonstop. Like I tell all my guests, salute, Mr. Dluv. It's a pleasure for you coming on the show, my brother. Most definitely, if you want to come back on, man, we can do this again and we can hit some topics. For sure. I'm all down for that.
Yeah, once I start dropping
music,
music, I'll come back on. Once I start dropping the music, we definitely come back on. We'll talk about how life's changed since then. But, definitely a great podcast, man. Shout out to you. Shout out to Golden Money Team, man. If y'all need any kind of marketing, music, media, whatever it is, tap in. They're going to get you right, man. If y'all other artists, y'all want to find out how to get on this podcast with Street Dialogue, tap in too, man. You can see it's a great interview. Great job. I love it, man. I'll definitely shoot some more people your way for sure. I'll get it popping.
I appreciate it. My brother. Blessings to you and your family. I'm gonna hit you up for sure. All right, my brother.
All right, man. Y'all bless Stephen. Talk to y'all later, man. Peace.
Peace.
See y'all later.
And shout out to the Golden Money Team Marketing. That's right, 24/7 non-stop marketing.
Hustler. Keep the mind of a hustler. Mind of a hustler. Mind of a hustler. Mind of a hustler. Mind of a hustler.